Hello and welcome to the show, Inspiring Innovators, a show to showcase innovative people, their innovations, and the impact it's creating. My name is Naveen Lakkur, Chief Innovation Coach at Institute of Inspiring Innovation. Today, we have Dr. Srikanth Sola as an inspiring innovator. Let's welcome him.
Thanks, Naveen. It's a great pleasure to be here with you.
To be a practicing doctor, a famous cardiologist, something would have triggered for you to become an entrepreneur. What inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Sure. As a physician, it's always our patients who lead the way, right? Everything we do is always about our patients and how we can make them better. In 2008, I moved from my successful practice at the Cleveland Clinic in the United States. Cleveland Clinic is like the best institution in the whole world for heart care. And I was doing really well, but I wanted to come back. I wanted to come back and serve my country. So I moved back into Bangalore to join the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences. It's a charitable hospital and probably one of the best charitable hospitals in the whole world. And the focus is always on our patients. Are our patients happy? And what I saw, as a fresh young cardiologist coming into the United States, from the United States into India for the first time, this was my first week, I saw young people dying from heart attacks due to air pollution. I'd never seen this before. We'd always read in the medical journals, air pollution kills 9 million people every year. It causes heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and all sorts of disorders that can really affect health. Even conditions like diabetes and infertility, high blood pressure, and depression can be caused or worsened by air pollution. But here I was seeing young guys in their late 20s and 30s, taxi drivers, shoe cobblers, and others who were passing away from air pollution. And I thought, there's got to be something more that we can do. There's only so many angioplasties per day that a single physician can do. There must be something else. When I was in the US, I had done a lot of biomedical engineering work. I'd worked with various healthcare technology companies to bring new technologies to market that have been very successful. And I used that knowledge to create this technology that would improve air quality for large areas, literally lakhs of people at a time, at a low cost with high efficiency. And then in 2018, when the results were so good year after year after year, then I decided to move out of cardiology and into green technology. And that's how I became a startup entrepreneur.
Interesting that, how you've moved from being a medical practitioner as a doctor from a reactive, that is curing people, to preventing people to fall sick. So it's a fantastic shift and it's a very proactive approach, I believe. And you are an example now as somebody who could inspire many others to consider, and more value for the old quote and the old saying, which says prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
So you've really, truly adopted to it and understood the value, and you're moving in that direction. Wow. In fact, people work very hard to become, to add doctor to their name.
Yes.
And you seems to be worked very hard to get your doctor removed from your name to become a CEO. And from Dr. Srikanth Sola, you become Srikanth Sola, the CEO of Devi Karth.
Right.
What is the core innovation that led to the formation of Devi Karth?
Sure. Clean air is required for life, right? We can't breathe without clean air, we can't live without clean water. These are the basic necessities. But unfortunately, because of increasing urbanization, rapid industrialization, increasing population growth, clean air and water are becoming hard to find. In fact, the World Health Organization says that 92% of the world's population breathes polluted air. So there's a huge scope for us to do better in terms of how we handle the basic elements of life. What I saw, as a cardiologist, I do a lot of work with MRI. MRI scanners are used, many of you probably had them, or maybe your relatives have had them. They're used to take pictures of the body, different parts of the body. And basically all we do is we put an antenna on the part of the body where we want to take a picture, and the antenna sends pulsed radio waves into the body. And then when those radio waves bounce back, the computer takes a picture from that signal. And then the physician says, oh, this is the condition and this, then the treatment can be decided. It also occurred to me that pulsed radio waves can be very effective in removing certain types of pollution. In fact, pulsed radio energy has been used since 1990 for reducing water pollution, pollutants in water, especially from industrial zones. What we did, the core innovation, is we used pulsed radio waves in a very ingenious way to increase the negative charge, like a magnet, increase the charge on certain microscopic pollutants in the air. Normally, these pollutants float around, and normal conditions, they collide to each other because of positive, negative charges, and they settle to the ground. During the lockdown, we saw this firsthand. When you went out to your car or your two-wheeler after a couple of days, you saw a layer of dust on top, right? Everybody had this experience. You're like, man, I got to clean this car. What happens is these dust particles are floating around, and because of their positive, negative magnetic charges, they get attracted and fall down. What we do with pulsed radio waves is we just increase the negative charge on some of these microscopic pollutants. So this process of colliding happens much faster, and then we're accelerating the clearance of pollutants from the air. It's very ingenious. And what we did further to make it even more useful is we said, well, shoot, we can pulse this radio energy in all sorts of frequencies, but let's do it in Wi-Fi. Because Wi-Fi is safe. The World Health Organization says it's completely safe. The current Wi-Fi systems that we use are about 1,000th the level of the international limits for Wi-Fi energy, so they're really safe to use. Second is it's standardized across the world. And third, Wi-Fi hardware is pretty cheap. You know, it's not very expensive. I can network a whole bunch of my systems together, and the advantage is I can cover 1 acre, 10 acres. Our largest installation is 16 square kilometers. So we're able to bring clean air to literally, you know, thousands or hundreds of thousands of people at once. And that's our dream, is to make clean air available for everybody across the world.
Oh, that's very inspiring, you know, to hear. Looks like you've used nature as your teacher, and you know, learned from the way natural energies work, and used it for creating something new and bringing some benefit.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So how do you say that this has been put into use, and the innovation from Devi Karth has created an impact? Can you give us some examples and how this has been put into use and what benefits have been there?
Sure. So Devicat started in 2018, and we've had about 100 installations across India since that time. And we focus on two groups of customers. One is companies that create pollution as part of their processes. This could be heavy industries, for example, cement, coal, steel, thermal power plants, mines have been a big one. These are all required, right? We can't live without cement and steel. We don't get cars or buildings without these basic materials. But in doing so, they do create a lot of air pollution. And our system has been really good as a way to further reduce the pollution that's coming from these industries, on top of the traditional air pollution control methods that are already in use. There's another group of people that we serve, which is really fun, which are companies that don't pollute, but they don't want to be affected by pollution. So for example, this would be marathons, where you want to run really fast, really hard, but you don't want to be going because of polluted air. And so we bring clean air for the benefit and the comfort of the runners and the participants. Cinema halls, shopping malls, hotels. We even did a satsang in the Himalayas pre-pandemic for Guruji, a Swamiji, who had come there for about 3,000, 4,000 people or so over a month's time. And it's just fun. We get to meet people from all sorts of life, right from heavy, you know, mines where there's a lot of dust, forges where the raw steel and iron is getting put into, to someone from a movie theater who just wants to make cleaner air as we watch the next Avengers movie. So it's a lot of fun for us.
Oh yeah. It should be, right, you know, where people have to do yoga to breathe well, and now you're saying, you know, you just have to have Devi Karth product to breathe well. So,
Yes. Now, obviously, we say the first way for clean air is to reduce pollution at source. And that's required from a society level as well as an individual level. When we work with our companies, we also guide them. We say, see, you're doing X, Y, Z, and we'll put our systems in, but you can also do these additional steps. What we typically see is just with our technology, pollution will come down by about 50 to 90%. What we've really done, we're in Bangalore. So if you just throw a stone in Bangalore, you'll hit a software engineer. And so we've really taken advantage of that. And we have built a lot of smart technology. So what happens is the technology learns. It actually understands and gets better over time. It looks at, let's say you've got a factory and you're doing welding in this factory. You're making cars or parts for cars or some other types of heavy machinery. And that welding smoke creates a lot of fumes. So what we do is we'll say, okay, great. We put in these systems to reduce pollution, our pure skies units. Then we put in third-party air quality monitors to measure the pollution, and you can see the levels on an app on your phone or whatever. And then that same data gets fed back to our systems. It's like a feedback loop. And our machines learn. And it says, well, okay, pollution is higher at certain times of the day, certain seasons of the year. And then we say, okay, how many shifts do you have in your factory? How many people are there? If you're doing welding, what type of welding wire are you using? And how many kilograms per day of that welding wire are we using? Then we go further. We say, okay, this is your factory, but what are the other factories around you that could be sending pollution your way that are, upwind from you? And then we look at regional factors. So for example, in the October season onwards, we get crop burning in certain parts of the country, and you have huge swaths of smoke coming from west to east that bring polluted air, and we plan for that as well. The net result is that pollution goes down, down, down every month as the system learns and understands the situation better. So it's nice. It's not just a fan there's no fan or motors or anything moving parts in our system. It just learns and it gets smarter over time.
wow, this is a true example of a green tech,
Yes.
but called blue skies.
Pure skies for clean air. Exactly.
Yeah. So they're creating that pure skies, right? So is that the name of the product that you have?
Pure skies. And we had the reason for the technology so advanced is, remember, we had a 10-year lead up time. We started the work in 2008 and we didn't commercialize it in 2018. So we were figuring out, is it effective? Yes. Does it work under all sorts of environmental conditions like high temperature, low temperature, high humidity, low humidity? Okay, we got that figured out. Is it safe? Of course, otherwise we're not going to put it in. We've had it tested, certified, etc. And does it work not just in the lab, but in real world conditions? And is it reliable? Well, yes, our uptime is more than 99.8%. I mean, it's as simple as your Wi-Fi router, but really, really, really high tech. The new systems are going to be solar powered, so their environmental footprint will be almost zero from an energy consumption, ongoing energy consumption usage. And we're really excited about a lot of the things that are either in the pipeline or coming very soon.
Very nice. It's a fantastic example of sustainability, right? So to create
Yes.
sustainability, but you have to be putting it into practice, and technology is truly high tech. While it looks simple, it reminds me of one of these quotes when we see water, which is half glass, and people relate to it as half glass full, or they say half glass empty. But in reality, actually, it's full glass, half glass with water, and the other half glass with air. So it's actually full glass. It's just that you need vision to see the portion of it which is not visible otherwise, the air, right? When the air is polluted, probably to the very bad extent, then maybe it is visible as
Mm-hmm.
smog. But how do you measure the quality of the improvement which has happened, which is not visible, right? So,
Right.
what techniques do you use to measure the air quality, and what are the benefits that it has got if it is improved?
Sure, that's a great question. what you said is exactly right. Until pollution gets really bad, we generally don't see it. It's sort of invisible threat that's around us all the time. That's why pollution is oftentimes called the invisible killer. Even small increases in pollution can have dramatic effects on our health. And several studies have shown that when pollution levels are higher, death due to COVID, for example, is much higher as well. So these are important factors when we take into account that there really is no safe level of air pollution. We've had a number of older clients who said, well, shoot, I've been breathing polluted air all my life and nothing's happened to me. And we say, well, that's great. I'm so happy that you're healthy. But first, pollution has doubled in the last few decades, and compared to when you were younger, the tree cover that we have nowadays is half or maybe even less. So conditions have changed, and the importance of clean air is more important now than before. How we show this to the customers, we use third-party air quality monitors that measure the air quality. We use specific types of monitors that are appropriate to the condition, indoors, outdoors, the types of pollutants to be measured, and so forth. And those are certified for accuracy by third parties. And then that data is sent to our app, which can be viewed on a desktop or a mobile phone. That makes it very convenient for the customer. But beyond that, we look at things that really matter. What we typically see, for example, is that if people are breathing cleaner air, we know that they're going to get sick less often. And what we typically see is after about 3 months, the number of sick leaves start to reduce. And we see sick leaves reduced by about 11% year on year once the technology is installed. That's huge. I mean, that means that you're getting that much more productivity as a company. One of our customers said, I don't know if it's because of Pure Skies or what, but we've had record profits this year. And we're not claiming that's because of us. We can't do that. But it's great to see that people are healthier, people are happier, productivity goes up. And this is not just our own data, but research studies from Harvard, from Europe, and other prominent research centers have shown that just improving air quality improves productivity, increases employee attention span, reduces the numbers of errors in manufacturing, and this is a big one, improves profitability by 1%. And I don't know of anything that's so simple a way to increase profits as just make sure you provide clean air for all of your employees.
Yes, it does play a role, right? Clean air. If you
Yes.
breathe well, and in fact, there is this understanding that it's the oxygen, which is the air that we breathe, is the real food for brain. So
Mhm.
if brain has to work well, then create a good environment, have a great mind, then great results are bound to happen.
Yes.
So you're feeding the mind, you're feeding the brain actually. The pure skies and the good air to breathe is a lot important for organization productivity to go up.
Yes.
Who would be the typical clients who would really appreciate the kind of innovation that Devi Karth has been involved and you've been involved in?
Sure. Sure. That's a great question. So obviously the polluting industries or companies that don't pollute, but that want to protect themselves from pollution. But what's really interesting is there's been a huge push for sustainability across many industrial segments, whether it's mines, shipping, ports, renewable energy companies, even cement and other heavy industries are all pushing towards renewable energy for their day-to-day operations. And this push for sustainability has led itself well to us because this is exactly what we do. We clean the air that you breathe, and not just for you and your factory or plant or your office space, but we've even had customers take it for their residential colonies or for the areas around their plants so that the villages and communities around their factory can also benefit from that same clean air. Sustainability is a way of life. And I really think we've gone into the sustainability economy, and that has permeated and is continuing to permeate down into now large businesses. And I think in the next few years, we'll see sustainability creep its way into medium and then small businesses of all types in all economic zones as well.
Absolutely. I think no questions that, in the United Nations, sustainability is one of the main push which is required for the whole world, and it has to
Yes.
percolate to all levels.
Yes.
And clean air, no one can even question or debate.
Our goal has always been from the very beginning. We want to be the global leader in green technology. We're not interested in second place, definitely not third place. We want to be the best. You know what Elon Musk did for electric vehicles and space exploration, what Steve Jobs did for phones, we want to do for green tech. So, when we talk about sustainability, it's not really sustainable if it's only available to the top 1% of the population. Sustainability means it's for everybody, right? And this is what we're doing. Right now, we're focusing on products that hit the most polluting industries, and we're doing really well there. We've also got products that help companies that don't want to be polluted or don't want to deal with pollution, and that works really great too. Our next journey is to say, how do we protect people from pandemics? How do we protect people from the global epidemic of air pollution? And so we're doing a number of things. One is we've evaluated our tech against coronavirus, and it's still in the early stages. And hopefully next time we talk, I'll be able to show you lab tested results. Second is we're looking at how we can make our technology smaller and smaller. And so I think by this time next year, or perhaps soon afterwards, we'll be able to say that we've got a device as small as your phone that is basically everything that we have in a small box, and that becomes your personal air purifier, something that you can take with you, like a kavach or shield that you can carry with you. The technology is there's really no limits to what the mind can do, what innovation can do to create better things for people.
So true. There's demonstration of many domains of innovation, right? Now you're also talking about the way it needs to be presented, the way it has to be packaged, and the way it can be carried. So as much as this technology that you're talking, which is not so visible to the naked eyes, but these innovations in how you package and how you present is visible. So how are these designs done? How are you making it cool, like the cool air?
That's a great question. What I tell our designers, meets technology. That's how it has to be. Initially, when we started, our products were very functional. It was a steel box, not really a steel box, but it was a heavy duty box. You could put an elephant on it, nothing would happen. You could throw it into a volcano, it would be fine. I mean, figuratively speaking already, they were really sturdy. And once we figured out, and got a lot of field experience, then we were able to say, okay, now we're shrinking the boxes. The earlier units, the first prototype, what we designed maybe 8 years ago, weighed about 220 kilograms. The current unit that we have weighs 5 kilograms. So it's a huge difference in how the technology has shrunk, become smaller, become suitable for all sorts of extreme environments. We've got some units going copper mines there in the high desert of Chile, where it can become very cold in the winter seasons. So there's a lot of applications. I think what's really exciting is can we do something for the climate crisis that is so prevalent throughout the world, whether it's increasing severity of storms, wildfires in places that we never saw wildfires before, drought and melting glaciers. It's affecting all of us. And what we have seen is that when we modify our technology a bit, we're able to capture through direct air capture ambient carbon dioxide by about 33% in the lab setting. And this is really exciting. And now what we're working on is, okay, what do we do with that carbon, and then how do we make it useful so that it can then be placed into some type of commercial product that can be reused for other purposes. So this is really cool. I mean, we've got, on the one hand, we're looking at, can we modify the technology for COVID? On the other hand, can we make it really small so it's like this? On the other hand, can we look at climate crisis and how we can adapt the technology to suit direct air capture of carbon dioxide? A lot of interesting things happening right now.
Seems very exciting. And this was an example to creativity and innovation as inseparable twins, right? When they
Yes.
come together, they unleash new power and the importance of it. What interested me amongst that sharing that you were making is that it shrunk to close to 2 to 5% of the size and also to the weight, and it could yet do the same, produce same results or even more.
Even better.
Oh,
Even better, the technology's gotten smarter. It's very durable. The same antennas and so forth that we had long ago, 10 years ago, are still working today. But boy, the technology is really smart. And, being in Bangalore and being in the Indian startup ecosystem has really been great because we have so much support. We've got all sorts of technology incubators here. We've got VC funding, and our VCs have been really supportive and very helpful in terms of fine-tuning the business models. We've got national level laboratories close by. We've been able to collaborate with IIT Kanpur for some of our work and others who are also helping us as well. So it's a whole ecosystem. It's not just me as one person, it's our team, and then it's the ecosystem that supports us so that we can do great things to help the entire globe.
absolutely. I think the commercial proof of any innovation is actually its adoption in terms of usage
Right.
by the customers, or another way to see the value is the investor coming forward and wanting to be supportive to make this available to more people and scale the business and becoming part of the ecosystem, right? And bringing the ecosystem together. So how did your innovation help to attract investors?
There's we started off as a hardware company. And then what we realized is actually we're not a hardware company. We're a software-enabled hardware company. We have this hardware, but it's a software that drives what we're doing. It takes in data and then it says, okay, this is the current air pollution. And then it actually forecasts, this is what air quality is likely to be tomorrow and the day after. And then it optimizes for that condition. It's learning, it's getting smarter. So it's a software-enabled hardware, and that really changed the way that we look at things because now our product development cycle becomes much faster, and that becomes very attractive to investors who are looking to work in a high-value area that has a high potential for returns. And some investors, they say, you know what, we're going to do a great investments in great company, but we want to work in this particular space. And for those types of investors, this has been a real hot area of topic. Green technology is just flourishing right now. It's perhaps not in the same place as fintech, EdTech, and Swiggy and Zomato, but it's really growing. And I think in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll see that green tech just does like this. What EdTech and fintech did in the last 2 or 3 years, we'll see the same thing with green technology.
Yeah, it's the need of the hour. I think
Yes.
otherwise we'll all pay a big price for it.
Right. Right.
So it's important that investors see this as an opportunity and people embrace it as for usage for better life and lifestyle, so that we all don't pay medical bills. So
Right.
instead, and with the example that you gave as how you could change the model or pivot or realize that you're just not a hardware company. It is hardware plus the software. And I recall how Apple, as a company, that has this model of hardware plus the software plus the service, that experience. And I see
Yes.
a similar approach that you are taking. That you've been innovative, you and your team. That world's first clean air as a service is your
Right.
innovative model now. So can you talk a
Yes.
little about that?
Sure. In 2018, when we started with the traditional sales model, but we said, you know what? Whatever it is, however great the technology is, it's a new technology. And the market is going to take some time to adopt this. There'll always be the early adopters, and we had many. But let's look at a model where we can make it a win-win for both the customer as well as the company. And so we came up with a Clean Air as a subscription plan in 2018, which has then evolved and grown over time. So basically, it's just like any other software-enabled hardware subscription. You pay a small activation fee and then a monthly subscription. And it's just like Netflix or Disney Prime, or Amazon Prime. You just subscribe. You take 3 months, 6 months, whatever period you want, 12 months or a couple of years, and then you subscribe. And then we take care of all the headaches. So any maintenance, spares, repairs, everything is on us. The advantage to the customer is that there's really no CapEx upfront cost. They can try it, and if they love it, then great. They can start small and they say, yeah, this is really good. And then they can go to larger and larger areas for longer periods. The advantage for us is it makes it easy for the customer to say yes, because it's simple. It's a subscription. There's no lock-in. You try it, you like it, you continue, and we know that you're going to love it. But we want you to be certain. We want you to have that confidence in Devic that yes, we can deliver and we can do it really well.
Nice. It's an example for business model innovation here,
Yes.
and the objective here is to get people to taste, hear something which you can't touch, you can still taste, right? That is the
Right.
air.
Right.
You will have to taste it, and once the brain loves it, then you're going to be touching the heart
Exactly.
anyway. So very nice. What are the latest innovative aspects which is happening at Devi Karth?
So we've got a lot of new technologies coming down the pike. So whether it's smaller versions of this, whether it's applications related to COVID or carbon dioxide capture, carbon capture for climate crisis mitigation, there are these types of technological informations. But there's a lot of business line and even customer service innovations that we've done. If a customer signs up, we have a very, very customer-friendly onboarding program, which basically we want this customer stay with us for life. And we really make it easy for them to understand the benefit. Not everybody understands air pollution technically, right? It's not something that we talk about on a day-to-day basis, but we make it easy for them to see the benefit, to understand that benefit, and then understand the monetary aspects of that benefit so that they say, yes, this is not only worth it from a sustainability or ethical standpoint, but also from a financial standpoint, this makes good sense. So we make it really easy. And that kind of innovation in business thinking, in going more than just saying we're customer centric, but actually putting it into action by how we work with the customers and how we hold their hands, that's been a lot of fun for us. And I think for the customers as well.
Wonderful. It's I'm able to relate to the new trend which is happening is all moving to the cloud, right? In
Mm-hmm.
technology terms,
Right.
where is your system operating? Where is your data sitting? And
Right.
where is the logic functioning? All of that is in the cloud today. And here is Devi Karth, which is creating pure skies. And so the next phase, probably people would be saying, where are you working? They would say, I'm in the pure skies, with the pure skies, and it's doing wonders and making people to be more productive and enjoy their life. Actually live their fullest potential. And
Mm-hmm.
the air that we breathe actually is the best medicine which can create that energy within a person, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
what's your innovation journey looking like in the
Mm-hmm.
future?
So we're constantly brainstorming. We're constantly looking at new ways to do things better. We're constantly looking at ways to bring our technology to the public at a more affordable cost. Remember what I said earlier, how is it sustainable if what we're doing is only available to 1% of the population? No, sustainability is for everybody. It's not just for those who eat organic or do this, it's for everyone. And so we're looking at how can we make it so that everybody can have clean air. Everybody can enjoy pure skies, pure air again. And that's a big push for us, is to make this not just for you and me, but for the rickshaw wala down the street or the dhobi who's living there. How can we make it available to them? That could be either by working with city governments to install our systems across cities, or it could be by making our technology smaller and smaller, so that just as you buy a phone, you maybe download an app and a small piece of hardware, and then you have clean air for yourself and your family. This is what we're looking for. Clean air for everyone.
As you were sharing, I'm so inspired and I'm getting some ideas. Okay, I'm even visualizing the future. One of the scenario that we would have all witnessed is on a cigarette packet, it would be printed in big letters now saying smoking is injurious to health, right? Because of many reasons. It spoils the body inside, the smoke, the air, or even the outside, right? It pollutes the air outside. But on the other hand, just imagine now in the future, there will be hopefully a phase and a time, you need to have this pure skies as this device from Devi Karth, which will make you feel good and better, both inside and outside.
Right.
How would that be? People buying that, pure air as a service and inhaling it. And even if they, for both outside and inside, it's going to be purifying them, right?
Yes.
So fantastic.
Yes.
Sounds very spiritual to me. So the impact and the power that it has. In fact, actually, it's the air which creates that spiritual environment. And you are creating that, and best wishes in your innovation journey. I'm sure it's such a godly work that I feel that the whole world will benefit, and the gods are there to bless you. All the
Thank
very
you.
best
Thank
in
you,
this
Naveen.
journey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being on our show, Inspiring Innovators. This is to showcase innovative people like you and the innovations that's happening through you and the impact it's creating to the world. Thank you so much for being that inspiring innovator.
Thank you.